It is Thursday, the 8th of February. As you can see, it is bright outside. It is sunny, slightly chilly, but the sky is extremely blue here in Aarhus in Denmark. This is my little version of David Lynch's weather reports that you can find online that you've probably seen. I couldn't help and resist this as a starting point. Hi, everyone. Dear friends at Laboral, dear friends at Bartle Booth, and dear audience. I want to say a massive thank you to the publisher and the translation team for making this Spanish translation of Words of Weather happen. Everyone who has ever done translating knows that it's a massive amount of work, and we need to appreciate the labor that goes into it. As we also know, translating is rewriting a whole new layer of meanings and connotations emerges. Words pick up on new meanings. The original book came out in English and Greek, where we already had to think through the meaning of words in two languages at the same time. Now we also have the Spanish version, and also a Chinese translation is out in March or so. The book is inherently linked to the exhibition that is on at Laboral in Gijón. Motores del Clima continues our earlier work with Daphne and reworks it in terms of the Spanish context and also the context of Asturias. We were happy to see the exhibition take a new shape with new artists in the mix, while also the work around the exhibition taking a specific stance in relation to climate change and environmental factors as they're distributed across different geographical zones and different social political zones. So the interest in Asturias as a specific sort of a climate zone is part of this as well. As for the book, with the original theme in the original exhibition in Greece and in Greek, we were able to play with the double meaning of the weather, of the two terms of weather and time as kairos. Now we had to take a slightly different route also, although the discursive themes are still very much similar. The book's aim was not to be just philosophical, but to capture some of the discursive strands from art and architecture as well, and really resonating with a lot of international debates over the past 10 years in different curatorial, book length, and other forms of expression that have really tried to make sense of current environmental situation, the political ecology of a current situation. And of course, Bartle Booth is really a fantastic publisher for this, knowing their long-term interest in critical spatial discourse. The theme itself, one that is featured in the book and the exhibition, but talking of the book, we invited terms for an alternative or a new glossary of weather. Terms that might be familiar or terms that are needed to be invented, needed to be recontextualized to understand the climate and weather of our times. Again, a political ecology of sorts. This task was implicitly recursive. Writing about weather becomes a new way of inquiring about weather, while our investigations of weather and climate feed into new ways of writing. Writing becomes atmospheric. Atmospheres are written down. Concepts play an essential role here. They are generative ways of mapping the complexity of even seemingly natural terms of wind, of waves, of light, of clouds, and other terms that feature in the book. They are not mere descriptions of what happens out there in the sky or what sort of radiation arrives on Earth from space, but also part of how cultures have formed and how cultures are being managed and controlled. Heat and extreme weather, light or the lack of light, rising sea levels or extended droughts or sandstorms are among the most far-reaching design elements, or at least conditions, of our age. We though have to admit that most of the knowledge about weather and climate is not nowadays seen as being about words or definitions, or the humanities even, but about data and remote sensing. There are, of course, glimpses where the attention paid to specific words and terms becomes really pronounced and important. Policy reports, such as the IPCC, ones are a case in point. They are very much really an exercise in what terms to choose. Not that they are always an entertaining read, but they are a fascinating genre, considering how much of collective work is put into those and wrestling with terms and phrasings. This sort of grey literature is also writing and literature. So the prevalence of data is evident in many of the massive scale infrastructures for Earth observation, some of them addressed in the book as well. Weather and climate are test cases for advanced computation, forecasting the immensely complicated systems of atmospheric movement and gases. Knowledge is power, so is data. And the rhetoric of environmental data becomes an additional way of how planetary futures are being designed. But writing matters, and we believe in developing these long-term projects as part of the broad critical environmental vocabularies across disciplines and to also tie disciplines together. It is this kind of conceptual creation, an engine for terms for weather and climate, that our book aims to work toward. Writing is one methodology among the datafied landscape of technological systems of observation and prediction of weather. But we write in multiple temporalities. We write being aware of histories, we predict and project. Instead of simple forecasting, we play with possible futures. The words and terms we think with become part of the various times of weather, as they become central tools and instruments through which the broader environmental discourse operates itself as a critical and creative knowledge formation. I really hope you enjoy the book. I wish I was there to celebrate it with you, but I hope there will be many occasions. And again, thank you to translators, Bartle Booth, and Laboral colleagues. See you soon, I hope.